Hey everyone, Scott here to discuss Transformers Rise of the Beasts, starring Anthony Ramos, Dominique Fishback, Luna Lauren Velez, Dean Scott Vasquez, Toby Nwiji, forgive me if I said that wrong, and Sarah Stiles, as well as a hell of a lot of giant robots with voice actors in them. I'll talk about them. Directed by Creed 2 director Stephen Caple Jr. Now, let's see. I've never been into the Beast Wars as much, as far as I know, but this trailer looked interesting. I hope it's better than any of the Drek Michael Bay made. I will say that much. Or should I say Michael freaking Bay? So, let's see how this goes. And I hope it's better than Bumblebee, because Bumblebee was the best one of any of the movies. Let's get into it. The film starts on the planet of the Maximals, where the maniacal transformer god Unicron, voiced by Coleman Domingo, is preparing to make his descent and consume the planet for power. And I do like the narration by a character who I will bring up in a minute, who I'm a fan of. Unicron sends his minions to the Terracons, so instead of the Decepticons, it's Terracons, led by Scourge, voiced by Peter Dinklage, to retrieve him for him the transwarp key, which would give Unicron the power to access unlimited worlds to consume, which was an interesting but fun opener, as this is going to be a B movie, I must say. And what do I say to that? Well, we'll 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 see if it's better than anything Michael frickin' Bay has presented when it comes to Transformers. The Maximals, Apolink, voiced by David Sobolov, Prime Optimus Primal, voiced by Ron Perlman, Erizor, voiced by Rochelle Yeoh, Rhinox, voiced by also voiced by David Sobolov, and Cheetor, voiced by, let me see if I'm saying this right, Tongai Carissa? Forgive me if I said that wrong. Prepare their leave from the planet, but Empelink stays behind to fight while bestowing Primal with the name Optimus Primal. And I'm a fan of Ron Perlman after Hellboy, and for sure, and I like his character in this movie. Scourge, a trophy hunter, arriving at and battling Empelink alongside his freezer drones, while I was having a little trouble seeing which one it was. While Apolink demolishes the freezers, Scourge mortally wounds Apolink, but realizes too late that the Maximals have already escaped with the key, which is a tedious plot, sure. Unicron then proceeds to devour the planet, as it was bizarre, sure, but I was going with it at this point. In 1994 Brooklyn, former student slash electronics expert Noah Diaz, played by Anthony Ramos, lives with his mother Brianna, played by Luna Lauren Velez, who's having quite a summer with this and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, and his little brother Chris, played by Dean Scott Vasquez. Now, are these good characters at best? It was serviceable, but Chris suffers from a sickness, and the family is struggling to earn money for his medication, which never comes up again for the rest of the movie, until the end, I'll say. Noah goes to the hospital and has no insurance for his brother to get help, and when he goes in for a job interview, he is told by the manager of the company that he has canceled the interview after speaking to Noah's former commanding officer, who says he is brave but cannot work in a team, which is a terrible plot for what we get for the rest of the movie. Elena Wallace, played by Dominique Fishback, who was the best thing about this movie, thanks to Judas and the Black Messiah, when I reviewed that film for 2021's Oscar bait, where she played the lead of the Black Panthers club's husband, works as an intern for a snooty gallery owner named Jillian, played by Sarah Stiles, who seems pretty annoying for what little she does in this movie. Detectives are at the workplace because an art director gets busted, It might have been keeping fakes. And where have I seen a movie like that before? Wonder Woman 1984, which is unoriginal. Elena confirms for Jillian what is authentic and what is a fake. But Jillian takes credit for the findings. See what I mean when I said she's annoying and the script can be cliche at times, in my opinion? Elena then finds a statuette resembling Eresor's complete with the Transformers insignia, forgive me if I said that word wrong, etched onto it, which is terribly convenient. Julian thinks it's ancient Sumerian. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Sumerian? I don't know, whatever the word that is. But Elena does her research, so I think Elena should get the credit for it instead of Jillian, who annoyed the crap out of me. Noah goes to his friend Reek, played by Tommy. Let me see if I'm saying this name right. Luigi, who convinces him to steal a Porsche being kept in the garage of another company so that he could sell it, which was stupid to the point it makes no sense. Noah manages to sneak in and finds the Porsche, breaking into it. And I was going to, with this movie, much more than the Michael Bay's take. At the same time, Elena uses a device to look further into the statuette, but ends up breaking it and finding a part of the transwarp key. Half of it, I'll say. We'll get there later. Inside, which was again awfully convenient. This sends out a signal that awakens the Autobots, and Optimus Prime, returning voice of Peter Cullen, calls upon Bumblebee, RC, voiced by Lisa Koshy, and Mirage, voiced by Pete Davidson, who is the most annoying Autobot in this series, in this entire movie, as the latter being the car that Noah is currently inside. And I had to laugh because he tries to steal it, but it goes alive inside him as security guard catches Noah, which prompts Mirage to drive himself out there. And I can't believe he got away with it. Honestly, I really can't. A chase across the city ensues where Noah realizes the car is driving itself, and the chase sequence is ridiculous right out the gate. As the cops get closer, Mirage demonstrates the powers of creating illusions of himself to distract the cops, allowing him and Noah to get away. And that's the thing, I still cannot believe these movies aren't meant to be believable. So I turned off my brain, and I'm not a big fan of that at this point, but I'm having fun with it at this point. Mirage brings Noah to a facility where he morphs into his Autobot form, which freaks Noah out, which is, I guess, normal in a movie filled with giant alien robots. Optimus and RC are none too pleased to find a human among them, but B is more trusting, and Mirage thinks Noah is fine, and Bumblebee is, I guess, Mirage. I get why, but why Optimus doesn't want a human, which will be hypocritical because he deals with them in the future. Optimus mentions that the key has sent out a signal and that they need to go after it so they can return to Cybertron. Makes sense, which makes sense as what are these movies been about? Returning or resurrecting Cybertron. Noah joins Mirage as they make their way toward the art museum to get to the key, but Scourge and his Terracon cronies, Battletrap, also voiced by David Sobolov, Nightbird, voiced by Michaela J. Rodriguez, are already on Earth and are going after the key, as well as the light glows in the sky. And this plot can be mindless at times for sure, as it's got problems for damn sure. But surprisingly, I'm still going with it. Noah enters the museum and startles Elena, who thinks he's an intruder, which was funny because of how she punched him in the face. After a struggle, Noah tries to explain that he needs the key, which Elena still doesn't know that's what she's holding. And Elena only believes him when Scourge blasts a hole through the wall and kills a security guard. And I'm thinking these performances by the humans are terrible. As the Terracons attempt to attack, the Autobots show up for battle, which was pretty cool to watch robot versus robot in this movie, more than the Bayformers. While Optimus and Bumblebee attempt to go after Scourge, the deadly Terracon impales Bee and blasts him in the chest, killing him, while Optimus can only watch in horror. And I'm like, oh, come on, Bumblebee isn't coming back from what I've seen in the trailers, so that didn't fool me too much. But Scourge can take Optimus too. Air Resort flies in and drives Scourge and the others away. Though he has taken the key half with him. If it weren't for that, there would be no movie. So I went with it. Even the action sequences can be loud at times, but not as loud as any of the Michael Bay stuff. And it was cool to watch, but it was also loud. Scourge returns to Unicron and discovers that it's only half the key, which makes the god violently punish his disciple, which was kind of funny in a way. It's ridiculous. Air Resort explains the situation to the Autobots, plus Noah and Elena, and Elena determines that the other half of the key must be in Peru based on the readings she looked up. And I like some of the 1990s songs that play in this movie. Before leaving, Noah returns home to see Chris, but Mirage shows up and makes his presence obvious, which was a painful scene to watch, sure. Noah explains his mission to Chris and tells Mirage to promise to keep his brother safe, and that is a scene that could be in the editing room floor, as this movie is just a tad bit too long at 2 hours and 7 minutes. And the line where Mirage says he's been inside me was a tad bit too far. And that is something Michael Bay would do in the previous movies. To get to Peru, the gang travels inside, let me see if I'm saying this name right, Stratosphere, voiced by John DiMaggio, an Autobot that morphs into a rickety old plane. But the Autobots are the best performances in the movie, in my opinion. On the way, Noah tells Elena that they should destroy the key to prevent Unicron's arrival, even if it means the Autobots will be stuck on Earth, which the Transformers movies I wanted since part 1. Once they arrive, they meet with a local Autobot named Wheeljack, voiced by Crystal Fernandez, who I swear to God, I looked like Mud Flap and Skids, but as a one Autobot, who guides them to their location while calling Noah a racist, which was a tad bit too far too. Mirage also gives Noah a device that wraps around his wrist in case he needs to defend himself, and that is a cool machine in a hand that eventually turns into a gun. Noah and Elena enter an underground cavern after finding Transformer symbols and make their way down, and can I just say, Peru looks beautiful from the way this movie is filmed. Unfortunately, the Terracons have arrived as well, and Scourge sends more freezers to go after Noah and Elena, and Peter Dinklage does do a good job at voicing something pure evil. The two find a crypt where the key ought to be, but find it empty except for some inscriptions that Elena writes down, which is a safe and a good idea. When they are spotted, they make a run for it, and the Autobots follow, which felt convenient. During the chase, Optimus vows revenge for Bumblebee by trying to go after Scourge, while the others take on Battletrap, and Nightbird in this fight is pretty cool as well. Air Resort joins the fight, but she gets marked by Scourge with one of his weapons as she'll turn evil, which I didn't mind too much. The others just barely escape they're safe. Noah and Elena exit the caverns and end up in a jungle where they are confronted by Optimus Primal, who the one I brought up earlier that's like an ape, and the other Maximals, and their designs were pretty cool. The Autobots show up to defend the humans until Air Resort tells Primal that they are the allies. And I honestly thought they were the bad guys in the trailers. I'm not kidding. But that's not the case, which I'm happy about. He tells the others that he and the Maximals moved out the other key halfway to keep it safe, which makes plot sense, I guess. The Maximals guide everyone to a nearby village that they protect and share an alliance with the humans that live there, as they are the ones keeping the other key half safe, and I do like the location as it's beautiful to watch at times. Later, Primal shows Optimus raw energy that can be used to revive B, but it requires a large surge of energy, which to me doesn't make any sense because he was in the later clips of the trailer. Meanwhile, Elena tells Noah maybe they shouldn't destroy the key in comparison to Optimus. And by Optimus, I mean Prime, not Primal yet, as they are both big brothers looking out for their families. And I did like that quiet time we get from these scenes. In the morning, Aerosaur has become fully corrupted by the dark energy that Scourge infected her with, which will lead up to a sad death because I did like that character as she was badass. She begins to attack until the other Maximals try to subdue her. Primal tries to hold her down, but Aerosaur tells him to do what he has to do. So he squishes her until she breaks it down and dies. And I can't believe the movie kills the bird off. And like I said a second ago, it was the saddest death in the movie. Noah also seizes an opportunity to destroy the key with the wrist device, but Optimus Prime pleads with him not to do so until he relents, which doesn't make much sense. Unfortunately, this gives Scourge an opportunity to seize the key and make his way back to Unicron. And Unicron doesn't look like the Cybertron from what we've seen in the previous movies. Scourge and the Terracons fuse both halves of the key together and create a platform over a volcano summoned Unicron, which is a fine scene, but it will lead to my favorite final battle in a Transformers movie. After Optimus and Noah realize their actions have made things worse, the Autobots and Maximals and Noah and Elena join forces to stop the villains, the Terracons, once and for all, which is a good pep talk before the final battle begins, coming up with a plan with a slim chance. Elena uses the markings she found to come up with a code that can disable the key, which makes sense in my opinion. The heroes then charge into battle with Primal commanding Rhinox and Cheetor to morph into their Transformers bodies to fight against the incoming horde of Scorponok. And it was good with when Prime and Primal say roll out at the same time, as that was a badass moment, but it wasn't as cheerworthy as in Avengers Endgame when Captain America says Avengers Assemble. Mirage helps Noah and Elena find an entry point to get up to the platform to enter the code, which is something I'm fine with. Optimus and Primal then team up with Rip Battletrap apart before Primal smashes his head with his own wrecking ball, which was a badass moment of the final battle sequence. Unicron starts getting closer to Earth with his presence reaching other cities, like back in New York, and those were shots I've seen in a lot of movies, which didn't feel original. When Noah gets closer, Scourge attempts to kill him, but Mirage uses his body to shield Noah before he is also killed, which was pretty damn cool. However, Mirage is able to transfer part of his body to the wrist device to create a suit for Noah to utilize in battle after hearing Chris talking to him over Mirage's radio. That was corny, sure. The energy waves from the key also managing to charge the energy, bringing B back to life, as that felt predictable, which I knew it was coming from when he died. He enters the battle and proceeds to help turn things around while playing LL Cool J, including him flying into the sky with Nightbird tearing her to pieces, which was a fun moment from Bumblebee. Optimus battles Scourge, nearly winning until Scourge blasts the computer being used for Elena to enter the key, rendering it useless, and this fight gets more and more badass. Optimus dismembers Scourge before ripping his head off, and then resolving to destroy the key himself to prevent Unicron from getting closer, and that was a kick-ass moment of the film. The key explodes, causing a vortex that sends Unicron away, but nearly pulls Optimus with it until Primal and Noah help pull him back, and this is why it's my favorite battle in any of the Michael movies. It may have Michael Bay's fingerprints, but I had fun with it. While Unicron may be still out there, the Autobots and Maximals acknowledge their victory and part ways. Noah and Elena fly home, start a sphere, and he returns to home to Chris and to their mom. And as an ending, the movie still has plot holes, sure, but it fills up the 2 hours of your time as it's absolutely entertaining. Later on, Noah is up for another job. He meets a man named Agent Burke, played by Michael Kelly, who knows about Noah in Peru and working with the Autobots. Though Noah tries to deny it, Burke offers Noah a chance to join a secret government organization, even guaranteeing that Chris's medical expenses will be covered. Noah is incredibly thankful and watches as Burke enters a secret room filled with vehicles and gadgets and other top secret things. Noah then looks at Burke's business card and learns the name of the organization, G.I. Joe, leading to the crossover between Transformers and G.I. Joe, which will probably be an awesome mashup. But I swear to God, I thought it was the beginning of Sector 7, but it makes sense because they're both Hasbro studios. During the credits, Noah is with Reek as he is fixing up Mirage. Reek thinks it's pointless until Noah calls up upon Mirage to turn on, and the Autobots come back to life proudly. And this was the Transformers movie that I wanted since part 1. And yes, I have reviewed the previous Transformers movies before. You can start off with The Last Night all the way to Bumblebee. But if you go to the beginning of the reviews I made, it might be somewhere in the beginning section. Now let's just get to the rating. I'll give this movie a 6.1 out of 10. Better than anything Michael Bay has done in the previous movies, as it's not good as Bumblebee, but it's the second best Transformers movie in my opinion, as it's a lot of fun for sure, and the action is cool to watch, but at the same time it's pretty loud. The performances by the humans were terrible, but the robot voices are more enjoyable than the humans as far as I'm concerned. But as far as the humans goes, Dominique Fishback is the best character in the movie, just as she's adequate at best. The plot is pretentious, but I went with it the entire time, as it did feel 1990s at times, and there were times the movie went a little too far, a tad bit with the humor, and that's something Michael Bay would do if he made this movie. And thank God he didn't make it, but it's still a fun movie, so I'll give this a mild recommendation that's better than anything Michael frickin' Bay has done with this material. So I'd like to thank you guys for rejoining me for Transformers, and until we get another one, roll out.